My name is Alina Vargas, and I am 30 years old to strangers. I look like a woman just getting by. 2 children, worn clothes, eyes that dart too quickly and never meet yours for long. No one sees the quiet war inside me. No one hears the screams I've learned to swallow. Every morning, I wake up to the dull ache of fear. Every night, I cry quietly, careful not to wake my children. I ache for freedom, but I have no place to go. I wasn't always this way. When I was a little girl, my world was full of soft light and warm laughter. My mother, Mireya, was everything good in the world. Her hands smelled like cinnamon and soap, and her voice could turn thunderstorms into lullabies. My 2 younger sisters and I would curl up in bed, and she would tell us fairy tales about queens who found their voices and little girls who outsmarted giants. Back then, I believed in magic. I believed my family was safe, my mother was invincible, and that love could heal anything. I was 10 when my mother collapsed in the kitchen. I remember the pot of soup bubbling over, the ladle on the floor, and the terror in my father's eyes. Karel, my father, was never the same after that. The days blurred together, hospital visits, whispered phone calls, crying behind closed doors. And then silence. Mireya was gone. Her death cracked something open in my father. The day of the funeral, he stood at the front of the chapel like a statue. He didn't cry. He didn't hold us. He didn't say a single word. He changed. The warmth left our home. Carol's grief turned into rage. He drank bitter coffee and stared at the television for hours. He snapped over spilled milk, missing socks, the way we breathed too loud. He began to shout, and then, one day, he hit. That was the day I stopped being a child. My sisters and I became shadows. We stopped playing. We stopped laughing. The house became a place of whispers and warnings. I tried to protect them, to stand between Karel and the storm, but I was just a little girl. Where could I go? Who would help me? The worst night came when I was 11. He was drunk, angrier than usual. Something in his eyes made my stomach twist. He raised a chair over his head, and I just ran. Barefoot, crying, I ran through dark streets to my Aunt Lyra's house. I remember her face when she opened the door, shock, then fury. She hugged me. That was the first safe touch I'd felt in months. The next day, Karel tried to end his life. He swallowed poison, but they saved him. He didn't apologize. He never mentioned it again. After that, my family sent me away to a camp for children like me. For 3 short weeks, I breathed differently. I heard laughter that wasn't followed by screams. Then I was sent back home. The silence was louder now. Karel didn't hit me anymore, but the fear lived in every corner of the house. At 14, I started disappearing at night. The city was dangerous, but it felt freer than home. I'd walk until my legs ached, just to feel air that wasn't soaked in tension. I dreamed of growing up, escaping, falling in love. I wanted someone to look at me like I mattered. That's when I met Rael. He was 20. He had soft brown eyes and a crooked smile. He called me beautiful. No one had ever said that before. Not my father. Not even my mother. When Rael looked at me, I felt like a real person. He said, "Come with me. You shouldn't live like this." I didn't think twice. I packed a small bag and slipped out before dawn. Rael lived with his parents in a house that smelled like cigarettes and old furniture. But it was better than home. At first, he was kind. He brought me coffee in the morning. He said I was special. I believed him. But slowly, the smiles faded. The kindness cooled. He began criticizing me. My voice, my cooking, the way I looked. Then one night, he slapped me across the face. My world stopped. I stared at him, shocked. "Why?" I whispered. He cried. "I didn't mean it," he said. "I was drunk. I love you, Alina." I believed him. I wanted to believe him. I had nowhere else to go. But the slaps became punches. The apologies came with flowers. Then silence. Then more pain. He drank more. Yelled more. I hid bruises. I stayed. Because I was 17. Because I was alone. Then, I found out I was pregnant. I cried, not from fear, but from hope. I thought the baby would change things. Maybe Rael would stop drinking. Maybe he'd see what we could become. But before I could share the news, he was arrested. Armed robbery. 3 years in prison. I was numb. I called my father. "I'm pregnant," I said. He laughed. A cold, sharp laugh. "You're no daughter of mine." I had nowhere to go. Rael's parents said I had ruined his life. I stayed on a friend's couch for a while. Eventually, Lyra begged my father to take me in. He agreed. But he didn't speak to me for weeks. I gave birth to my daughter, Aria, in silence. The nurses congratulated me, but my father didn't even come to the hospital. I looked at my baby girl and promised her everything would be different. She would be safe. She would be loved. I took her to visit Rael in prison. I thought he'd be happy. But he stared at her and said, "Why did you bring her?" I walked out holding Aria tighter than ever. When Rael got out, I had changed. I had learned to fake smiles, to cook, to stay invisible in my father's house. Rael showed up at the door one rainy evening. He said he missed us. He wanted to try again. I said no. But he didn't leave. He kept coming back.
He wore me down.
I was tired. I was lonely. I didn't want Aria to grow up without a father. So I let him in. Big mistake.
He hadn't changed.
The drinking returned. The anger. The women. I became invisible again. This time in my own home. I got pregnant again. A boy, a Leo. When I held him, something inside me broke and healed all at once. I loved him with a fierceness I didn't know I had. But love wasn't enough to protect us. Rael got involved with a woman named Celine. Wild, reckless, cruel. She gave him pills, booze, lies. He vanished for days. Came home raging. Accused me of cheating. Called me names I didn't recognize. One night, he locked me in the bedroom and sent the children outside. He beat me until my vision blurred. I didn't scream. I didn't want Aria or Leo to hear. Afterward, he knelt beside me. "No one else will ever love you," he whispered. "You're broken. You belong to me." I believed him. But something in me was changing. Slowly. Quietly. Like the way dawn creeps in before the light. Rael stopped hitting me. But the control stayed. He tracked every move. Stole every coin I saved. Spat insults like venom. And I still stayed. Until one morning, Aria, now 6, asked me, "Mama, why do you always look scared?" I couldn't answer. That day, I walked to the market and sat near the fountain. A woman with a clipboard approached. She worked for a shelter. Her name was Nadia. She said, "You look like someone who needs a place to breathe." I cried for the first time in years. Over the next weeks, I met Nadia in secret. She helped me open a tiny bank account. She showed me the steps. I memorized every one. I packed a small bag. I hid coins in a cracked vase. I found strength in whispers. Then one night, Rael didn't come home. I didn't wait. I grabbed Aria and Leo. We walked through the dark, hand in hand. Every shadow felt like Rael. Every footstep made my heart race. But we reached the shelter. Safe. That night, I slept without fear for the first time in 20 years. The next morning, Aria whispered, "Mama, you smiled. I am Alina Vargas. I am 30. I am a mother, a survivor. And for the first time, I am free." If Alina's story touched you, share it. Somewhere, someone is waiting for the courage to break their silence. Would you like this in a downloadable document or expanded with dialogue, more details about the shelter journey, or a future chapter where Alina finds healing and independence?